You always ask about controller sensitivity and what sensitivity is truly the best one out there. With the rise of controller gods like Ghost AYDAN and FAZE Sway, controller players have proven that they can hang against the best of the best in Fortnite. I'm going to try out 5 of the top controller player sensitivities and then conclude which one feels the best. By the end of this video, you will have a great idea as to what sensitivity you should be using in Fortnite. Can you guess which players I am going to be showing you in this video? There's one player in particular who not a lot of people know about. Just wait until you see this guy. He is absolutely nasty in Fortnite. You will not even believe that he's playing on a controller when you watch him play. Now let's get started with the name you all know, Ghost AYDAN. AYDAN soared onto the pro scene by absolutely dominating Tilted Towers at a LAN event, dethroning Nick Mercs as the king of Tilted at the time. As one of the few controller players to play at the Fortnite World Cup, it's safe to say that AYDAN is still an absolute beast in Fortnite Season 10. Here is AYDAN's sensitivity that I will be trying out for this video. Now it's time to be Ghost AYDAN.
What? Oh yeah, I just died to a mech.
I chose AYDAN first because his sensitivity across the board is pretty similar to mine. His X and Y are both 0.03 apart, just like mine, but they're also 0.30 lower than my X and Y. Of course, I ran into a mech with 2 solos teaming in my game with AYDAN's settings. Luckily, they were both potatoes, but this is Season 10, so you do run into things like that. And this is where I really started noticing that AYDAN's lower settings were amazing for lasering people. My aim felt so crisp and it let me just absolutely smack other players in the game. Another mech even came at me and I took that thing down quickly and destroyed both those body boys teaming with it as well. As I kept going through this game, I noticed how AYDAN's settings let you control your aim extremely well. I didn't really find myself getting too wrapped up in the build fights and not being able to hit shots. My aim was actually spot on, even after building, which is a problem I usually struggle with on a higher sensitivity. I actually really started popping off in this regular solo game, running through each player with ease. I really did kind of feel like AYDAN for a second, and then I came back down to earth when I was going for that 20 bomb until... yeah, that's just my luck, but I had plenty of time with AYDAN's settings to realize how nice the lower sens really feels. It's time to get into another player who I am sure you all have heard of, FAZE JARVIS. JARVIS is one of the best players in all of Fortnite, and he barely missed qualifying for the Fortnite World Cup due to long queue times, which kept him from reaching enough points. I would feel so bad for JARVIS, and I actually do feel so bad for him. I can't believe how that would feel. Like if you were in that situation, you work so hard and you still don't get to go to the World Cup, and it's not really even your fault. But here's a look at JARVIS's settings, and I want you all to take a look at 2 things. One, his X and Y sensitivities are exactly the same. A lot of players like to have a higher X than a Y sensitivity, but there are those who prefer to have them the same, like JARVIS. I've recommended in the past that you have a higher X than a Y, but it's nice to see that there are pros that feel the other way as well. And 2, his build sensitivity is maxed out at 2.0. This allows him to have his X and Y settings at 7.27 while still rocking quick builds. I won't lie to you guys, the X and Y being on the same level did not feel bad at all. I ran into solo squads and held my own in Salty Springs, even took down some teams later on in the game. The one part of JARVIS's sens that did feel a little bad for me was that 2.0 build sens. I used to use 2.0 but switched away from that because ultimately I felt like it was too dramatic of a sens difference going back and forth between shots and builds. Even with my aim being somewhat garbage after building, I was still able to make it really far in this game, but I faced the same fate as I did with AYDAN's settings. GG's. Before we get into the next one, I have an announcement for you guys, but I want to show you my controller because you guys are always asking, do I play claw or do I play with a SCUF? And now I'm showing you guys, and first, the official announcement. We are now, the rodeybros, this channel, partnered with SCUF Gaming, baby. You guys can see this controller, the red, white, and black right there. We're partnering up with SCUF Gaming to exclusively be using SCUF products on this channel. We have code Rodey in the SCUF Gaming site. If you guys are ever buying one, use it for 5% off whenever you're buying a controller. So excited, SCUF Gaming, we've been using their products for years, and now we're officially partnered. So enough about that though, guys. This is the controller. You can see the 4 paddles on the back. I do not play claw, I play with a SCUF. Let's get back into the video. Now it's time for another controller player who might just be the most trendy player out there, FAZE Sway. His building ability and creative shocked everybody, and his mechanics are just unbelievable. Here's a look at Sway's settings, and you will notice right away that Sway easily plays on the highest sensitivity of all the players in this video, and even the highest of most people that you'll see in Fortnite. 0.870 on both X and Y gives Sway the ability to do builds faster than my mind can even comprehend. I tried to use these settings without much success, guys. I'm not going to lie to you. 0.87 is just such a fast X and Y, and it gets exponentially faster, so it was so tough for me to use. If you are a player who really likes to play on a high sensitivity, this might be for you, but I would not recommend FAZE Sway settings for many people at all. Not many people can do what Sway does, and that is enough said about that. I don't want to spend too much time on Sway settings because not many people can relate to being as quick as FAZE Sway in building. I am so excited to talk about this next player because I feel like not many people talk about him enough. His name is LETSHE. LETSHE is a top EU player who performed at the World Cup on controller. Check out this clip of LETSHE absolutely dominating the EU Trios tournament. If you didn't get to see LETSHE in the World Cup tournament, you'll get to know him soon. I mean, the dude just ran through Mr. Savage and other well-known EU pros in one lobby. In my opinion, LETSHE is the best controller player in the game. Just overall competitive player is the best out there. But I'm curious to see what you think. Is LETSHE the best? Do you think Sway's the best? Do you think Nick Merckx, somebody like that as well? Let me know who you think is the best. Here's LETSHE's settings, and these might just be my favorite settings of the whole video. LETSHE does not quite rock the same X and Y, but they're very similar in value. So you still get that benefit of using a high build sensitivity slightly below 2.0. I personally played very well with LETSHE's settings and love the feel of the aim sensitivities and building as well. I recommend these settings for anybody who really likes to have a control over their aim, but also likes to play creative 1v1s. The slightly lower Y makes for more controlled shotgun shots, but the high build sensitivity allows you to compete in build fights, very similar to JARVIS's. Overall, it's easy to see how LETSHE dominates with the settings that he's mastered, and he's just a very exciting player to watch, especially in the pro scene, because he's just so persistent and crisp with his builds. Finally, we move into another top tier controller player, Ghost Innocence. Innocence has dominated players on all platforms ever since Fortnite came out, and has been known as one of the top controller players for quite some time. This man just absolutely shreds people. I used to think I was really good at Fortnite, and then I watched a video of Ghost Innocence just dropping like a 30 bomb in a lobby, and then I was like, alright, yeah, this guy is good at Fortnite. Take a look at his settings, and you will see pretty similar settings to FAZE JARVIS, except with a lower X and Y. It's the lower X and Y that I'll recommend for most of you. I did not play amazing with Innocence settings, but I definitely felt the potential for why these are really good. Not everybody can handle a higher X and Y, and Innocence is a perfect example that you don't need a super high X and Y to still play really well. You don't have to be over 7.0, he plays right at it, and he is still one of the top players in the game. That 2.0 build sense though always seems to mess me up. I held my own in Salty, but ultimately went down due to not being able to hit my shots after the builds. It's that 2.0 build sense, guys. It's one of the hardest things to get used to, I think, as a controller player, and that's just my opinion, but it is really tough to adapt to. I wouldn't recommend 2.0 build sense unless you can really grind and practice hitting your shots after using it. So after showing you guys all the sensitivities and me getting to try them out all for myself, I gotta conclude which one is the best. And really, of course, that question is very subjective. You know, what is the best sensitivity to you as compared to for me? It's going to be a different answer, but what I want to say for you guys that goes for the general case, I think the best sensitivity, judging from this, is something that has an X and a Y very close to each other. You'll notice with all of these pros, their X and Y are either the same or very close, with the X slightly higher than the Y. So with that in mind, I think it's safe to say that LETSHE sensitivity is the best sensitivity for most people. It's the one that's going to work for most of you guys, and if you're interested in trying it out, maybe try it at a slightly lesser sensitivity on the X and Y, but keep same settings in general with LETSHE, because I really think this dude is absolutely cracked out of his mind, and you guys should give it a go. Thank you guys so much for watching. Glad to announce the partnership with SCUF, and I will see you guys in the next video.